This is Change Radio News. It's Monday, the 15th of February. The news read by Shomiso Banda. And the story is making the headlines. Millions of Zimbabweans around the world celebrate the life of Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai. MDC Alliance announces national executive meeting. And finally, MDC Mavuko trio arrested. And now for the stories in detail. Millions of Zimbabweans around the world celebrated the life of the late MDC party president Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai yesterday. Various leaders and people expressed their feelings about the great icon, saying,
vachitaura kuti imimi vanhu, you are not supposed to think about yourself. You must think about the people as leaders. So sometimes ndinozooneka hangu ndakufunga kuti some of us vanofunga zvekudya, vanofunga zvemotikari, vanofunga zvekurarama nevana vedu peacefully, I think we are losing the focus. Let's go back and say, what was Morgan Richard Tsvangirai's vision? Because his vision, Mr. Chairman, was just to dismantle the autocracy and achieve democratic change by transforming Zimbabwe to a sustainable, just, prosperous, God-fearing, ethical, and a democratic state. That was what Morgan Richard Tsvangirai willing to do, and we'll make sure that we will win the election, attain the state power, and form the next government, and transform the lives of the people of Zimbabwe. Because that's such Mr. Chairman. Because without taking the people of Zimbabwe to the state house, obviously we could have failed. And it's also like that.
Thank you, Change Radio, for inviting me to respond about our icon, our prophet, I want to believe, and a hero in the eyes of those that had the opportunity of being with Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai the late. I have had the opportunity of working with Dr. Tsvangirai in the labor movement. And one thing I admired about him, and I think everybody else would agree with me, he was straight like a ruler. Always on time, speaking the people's language, feeling the people's pain, expressing the people's emotions, and he was never above the people. He was always amongst the people. That is the Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai that I got to know. And I'm one of these lucky ones that had the opportunity of traveling his last trip when he went right around Zimbabwe, meeting stakeholders in all our 12 provinces. It was amazing. It will always be in my mind, always, and I will always cherish it until I leave this earth. There are a number of things that we used to discuss. Earlier, I alluded that he was a prophet. Why am I saying that? Every time you would ask him questions about things that were happening in this country, political parties, you just name it. And let's say, for example, you complain about anything. He had 5 statements, if my memory says me well, that you would always repeat every time you asked him about an issue. You would say, for example, if you say, but look at so-and-so is doing this, and you would say, skoko. He also had a saying that was, Shiri haichinje muririro hayo. The other one was, chakatanga ndo chakachenjeta. The other one was, ngatiite ichirirangwe. And the last one was, if you are a public figure holding a political office, representing the people, he used to say, where we are going, people are not going to vote for a name. They are going to vote for deeds.
Isu Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions tinorangarira Vamogen Tsvangirai semutungamiriri akaunza shanduko kwete muZimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions moga asi mapoka ose vashandi tisingagumiri muno munyika yeZimbabwe asi semutungamiriri akatungamira mapoka evashandi muSADC region akavawo achitungamirira mapoka munyika yose pasi rose aizikanwa zvakanyanya. Kwose kwaakaenda akaunza shanduko, zvikuru sei shanduko yokuti vashandi vanofana kubatana vamire nesimba vachirwira kodzero dzavo. Munguva yavapinda ndimo maamakanyanya kuti vashandi vakanga vachimbunyikidzwa uyezve vachiiswa pasi vachitsikwa-tsikwa nevatungamiriri vedzinyika. Asiwo ndivo vakaunza gwara rekuti ngatitore imwe nzira, tirege kutsikwa pasi nekumbunyikidzwa, asi timire nesimba tichirwira kodzero dzedu dzevashandi. Tinoona zvekuti havana kuunza shanduko bedzi mune movement yevashandi, asi vakaunzawo shanduko munyika yose sezvatinoziva zvino kuti ndivo vakatanga kuuya negwara rokuramba one party state yakanga yoda kuitwa munyika ino. Vakati vanhu vose vanofana kuva nekusununguka nekodzero dzinofana kuremekedzwa. Saka mutungamiriri watinoti aiva neushingi husina vazhinji vatinoshuvirawo kuti dai tava neushingi hwakadaro. Tinorangarirazve kuti mutungamiriri akanga achida kubatana kwavanhu, akanga asina daka navanhu, zvokuti kunyange vaimurwisa ari muZimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions aingovagamuchira sehama, uyezve achida zvekuti munhu wese ange achibvunzwa uye kuita tsvakurudzo kuti chii chingaitwa nevashandi, atinoti consultation, kunyange kuna ava vakanga vachirwa naye aingovabvunzazve nokushanda navo zvakanaka.
The National Executive of the Opposition MDC Alliance met virtually on the 12th of February to deliberate on the country's state of affairs. Amongst the issues discussed were state capture, agricultural season, COVID-19 response, and governance crisis. Zimbabwe Republic Police in Mavuku arrested 3 MDC Alliance members, Millicent Bundira, Mavis Katuka, and Linda Bundira. The 3 were arrested while engaged in pothole patching in Mavuku Ward 19. They are all detained at Mavuku Police Station. ZLHR was advised of the arrest of the trio, and the trio is set to appear in court on Friday. Opposition members remain the target of persecution by the current regime. Consequently, the MDC Alliance executive has decided to enlist this issue on the party's agenda. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe has received its first batch of COVID-19 vaccines. 200,000 Sinopharm vaccines arrived from China in the early hours of today. The vaccines become China's first donation to the Southern African country. Government highlighted that the vaccines will be issued in phases, starting with frontline workers, immigration workers, and agents at border posts. South African Beitbridge border post will open today after it was shut down last month due to curb the spread of the second wave of COVID-19 that had spiked rapidly. However, there's chaos on the N1 at Louis Trichardt in Limpopo, where traffic officials are preventing trucks from traveling to the Beitbridge border post. In other news, despite current lockdown restrictions, ZANU-PF held elections in Motare over the weekend to fill in the senatorial seat which was left vacant after the death of the Minister of State for Manicaland Province, Ellen Gwarazimba, who succumbed to COVID-19. Just last month, another ZANU-PF MP, Kenneth Musani, held a packed rally. The Zimbabwe Republic Police has so far turned a blind eye on both incidences. Zimbabweans have expressed concern over the selective application of rule of law in the country, as opposition gatherings are always halted due to COVID-19. MDC Alliance spokesperson has lambasted Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Unit ZAC for their inaction towards dealing with high-profile corruption cases. She demanded action from ZAC, saying,
just constitutionally speaking, under Section 255 of our Constitution, we've got a Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, which has a mandate and a duty at law to expose and investigate cases of corruption. What's deeply concerning for the main opposition, for lawyers and for citizens in Zimbabwe is that a lot of the information and the corruption scandals that are referenced in the state capture report published by the Daily Maverick are scandals that have been in the public domain for some time, and yet we see this complete inaction by the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. What's even more concerning is that there is this elite angle to the state capture. So you've got government officials all the way to the very top that are named in this state capture report, which creates a huge problem because a lot of our institutions aren't operating as strongly as you'd expect. For example, the National Prosecuting Authority, which has a duty to be impartial, which has a duty to investigate or to bring prosecution against those who are responsible for criminal offences, has been completely moribund. And Mr. Mnangagwa's anti-corruption fight has been used as a weapon to attack political enemies, as opposed to a genuine, sincere tool to bring those who are responsible for corruption to account, which is why we haven't seen any high-level convictions. This is against a backdrop where Zimbabwe loses over $3 billion United States dollars to corruption every single year. 1.5 billion is lost to illicit gold transactions every single year. And at the same time, 67% of Zimbabweans are living in extreme poverty. So what you can see quite clearly is that Zimbabwe is not poor, it's poorly managed, and we've got this huge albatross around our neck, which is a corrupt, violent dictatorship, which is looting the country to high heaven and is not putting the people first.
And the MDC Alliance mourns with Chief Mafu's family, the totality of the people of Mafu Chieftainship, the Chiefs Council, and the traditional leadership fraternity. We are the poor with the departure of our esteemed doyen of traditional leadership and preservation of our culture of Ubuntu. We take comfort in the knowledge that it served the people well, both for the upliftment of their livelihoods and for cultivating and sustaining harmony, peace, and tolerance in its area of jurisdiction. Chief Mafu passed away on Friday. In our entertainment news, Change Radio joined the world in celebrating World Radio Day. Let's take a listen to some of the celebrations.
Change Radio joined all the other radio stations around the world in commemorating the United Nations World Radio Day. This year's Radio Day was commemorated on 3 sub-themes: evolution, innovation, and connect. And as Change Radio, we subscribe to the fact that we will continually evolve with changing environments, and we will be innovative. We are going to adapt to new technologies so that we remain relevant and accessible to all and everywhere in Zimbabwe and in Africa, and of course in the diaspora. We also want, as part of our vision, we will connect with all the communities in Zimbabwe. Our goal is to be able to connect with rural communities, to inform the people of Zimbabwe, to inform them of what is going on in their country, but remaining very truthful and very effectual, because that is what Change Radio is about. We are about changing ideas, changing communities, but most importantly, we are about telling the truth of what is going on in our different environments. Thank you.
And in our COVID-19 statistical update, Zimbabwe's recorded 59 new cases and 35,104 cumulative cases, with 5 newly reported deaths and 1,398 cumulative deaths. And now for sports news. Football results in the English Premier League played over the weekend are as follows. Leicester 3, Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 0, Burnley 3, Man City 3, Tottenham 0, Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0, Southampton 1, Wolves 2, West Brom 1, Manchester United 1, Arsenal 4, Leeds United 2, and Everton 0, and Fulham 2. And to end the news bulletin, the headlines once again. Millions of Zimbabweans globally celebrate the life of Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai. MDC Alliance announces national executive meeting. And finally, MDC Mavuku Trio arrested.